Hey, if you enjoyed that performance, I'd really appreciate if you hit subscribe. I'll make some more of these. Thanks so much. Hey everybody, I just want to walk you through some of the considerations I made when recording the Carpe Diem excerpt. And the first thing is, what kind of pick are you going to use, or what kind of guitar are you going to use? If you really listen closely to the recording, you can hear that it's probably recorded with a nylon guitar. Now if you watch the recording, any of the live recordings of A Change of Seasons, you'll see, at least in the ones that I watched, that Petrucci does play it on an electric guitar. Now I'm playing on a Majesty. A Majesty has these wonderful piezo pickups, which are great for those acoustic sounds. Personally, I found them a little bit sharp, or just in terms of their sound quality for recording this. So I actually, when I did the recording, I actually did a blend, which is the piezo position in the middle. If you are playing a guitar that does not have a piezo position, what I would recommend, and I did play with the sounds a little bit, is probably using the neck position of the guitar, and then making sure that maybe in your EQ or some other kind of thing that you have just that extra kind of shimmery brightness on top. You might want to roll the tone knob back a little bit, but not too much. The second thing that you'll want to consider is, what kind of pick are you going to use? These days, for pretty much everything, I'm playing on the JP Flow 2.0 millimeters. Great pick, love this pick, but you'll get a lot brighter of a sound if you use a thinner pick, and this is the same pick, which is a flow pick, but it's the 0.73, and I'll just demo the sounds between those now. So first thing is piezo in the middle, neck all the way up. I rolled the tone knob about in the middle, and I turned the piezo down some with the neck pickup all the way up. And then this preset that I made in my Fractal FM3 is based on the Band Commander setting. So here it is with the 2.0 pick. And here it is with the thinner pick. You can hear that the thinner pick definitely gets a lot of extra brightness on top, which is something you'll want when you're playing this. So another thing you're going to want to take into consideration is your hand position when playing some of the chords in the beginning, which are. Now note, when I played this first one, each of these fingers has its own sort of fret lane, so my hand can be, or my fingers end up being relatively perpendicular to the fretboard. When I came back, you can see my hand slinks back, it comes at more of an angle to allow these two fingers to match up from here to here. You don't need to overemphasize it, but I would just want to bring this to your attention so that you can properly isolate it and figure out how to best execute it with your hand, with your biomechanics, and your guitar. The next chord is like that, and you can see again my hand's at a pretty significant angle. My fingers are not flat like this. It's going to be, again, impossible, almost impossible to play it, because you have this separation of two strings and these two fingers. And then the last chord is also even more difficult, and I found myself playing that one at a pretty extreme angle as well, especially in order to get all of the notes to ring. You want to make sure that on this third finger here, you're not chopping the G string right here. So just bring your hand around the guitar on top more, and then that can. It's a little tough to get perfectly consistently, but with practice, I'm sure your hands will find the spacing for it. The next thing to consider would be how you're breaking up your phrasing. So there's a couple different ways that you can feel out this tune, which would be dun dun da 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 da, or you can feel it as the way I chose to feel it, which was kind of a flowing six. Da 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 da. So here it is with the kind of straight, boring way. And here it is as a flowing six. Now, this also does change when you're playing through other parts, such as the because the accent pattern changes there. Those are kind of your melody notes. And then same thing here. You want to make sure that you bring out the dynamics on the top of this. And really hit those with enough force. And I do have the multi-band compressor running in this. I followed some Cooper Carter tutorial forever ago to set that up. And so it does kind of balance out the dynamics quite a lot, but you can still hear. There's a tonal difference when you hit the string harder. Now, one of the next considerations that you're going to want to make is the hand position. If you're playing a lot of rock and metal, you're probably more familiar with using kind of a heavy palm mute kind of thing. And what you're going to need to do is that palm mute should be coming from this part of the hand, and you're actually going to need to float that part of the hand in order to get the necessary sustain to play that excerpt. So that's just something you're going to be needing to be aware of, and you're going to have to experiment with yourself. The next thing is that when you're playing this, you need to make absolutely sure that all of the notes are sufficiently ringing out, especially the bass notes. And one of the things that I found when I was listening back to my recordings is the recording really lost a lot of life whenever I cut those bass notes off early. It's a little tricky to do, but you might find that your hand is kind of slowly curving over and cutting off those strings, which will cause that muting effect. So make sure that you have that full sustain. And the next thing that really helped me out when playing this was doing something that I call having a picking plan. So picking plan is simply, well, am I going to do an upstroke here, or am I going to do a downstroke here? Am I using inside picking, or am I using outside picking? But the two places you'll need to execute having a picking plan are these two spots. And so the picking pattern that I found best for that was same as you've played it before, and then playing the B string on an upstroke, using outside picking, so down, reaching over, up, and then resuming the push through picking pattern. And then for the next segment, I used a double downstroke on the E and the B. Actually used triple downstroke. You just want to make sure that you're having the melody notes, which are kind of this top B and E, speak properly. And it's a little easier to hit consistently with all the string skipping that goes on and string changing if you just keep a downstroke instead of having your pick slant basically be downstroke and then you get to flip to upstroke and then downstroke again. That's really where a lot of people get hung up on this. Now the last place that you're going to need to watch out for is what I call the F sharp section, which is the... Again, make sure that those bass notes are ringing out. And the next thing is the rhythm. It is specifically dun da 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 dun da da dun dun da. It's not dun da 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 da. So make sure you don't rush it. So that's all I got for you. Hope this video helps you out if you're going to attempt the absolute madness that is this Carpe Diem section. It is surely deceivingly difficult. If you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you like these kind of excerpt tutorial breakdown videos, and maybe I'll make more of them. So see you in the next one. Peace.